Welcome back, everyone, to GGN. This is part 2 for today. My website is ggnonline.net. On YouTube, my channels are ddarko2012 and ddarko2013. Okay, this first article I have for you is, "Hey young people, why aren't you protesting? Shutdown deserves a response from millennials." So on a range of issues from immigration to unions, polls suggest 20-somethings are lefties. Yet here are in the midst of a government shutdown, and the millennials aren't coming out against it. They should be surrounding the Capitol to defend Obamacare and blast the Republicans for denying food stamps to millions of poor people. They say one of the reasons is that they don't trust the federal government. The other reason could be is that they're living in this quote economy that isn't really doing them all that well. Millennials devastated as American dream becomes nightmare for most. So a lot of them went to college, took on debt, and now they can't pay it off. And many of the jobs are part-time and low wage, as most of you know. According to the Wall Street Journal, only about a third of adults in their early 20s work full-time. The lowest rate in 40 years is the combination of structural changes, and this recession is devastating for millennials. It says despite think tanks demanding more of employers in terms of workplace rules and minimum wages, the reality is workers are expected to do more for less and be grateful. So this is a little chart here. They said the young are earning less and less relative to the average earnings in the United States. Young people's earnings relative to average from 1980 to 2010. So 0.85 down to about 0.6. Yeah, 0.60. And their participation rate went down from 80% in 1980 down to 65% in 2012, but it really dropped between 2000 and 2012. This is a percentage of U.S. population with a job to corporate profits. More demanding job requirements coupled with the pressures of the recession have, and like I said, that was a wealth consolidation operation and consolidation. Have delayed the transition to adulthood for young people in the past decade and earned them the title of the new lost generation. But this is just going into this postmodern world where technology is basically at the center of it, where people aren't really needed anymore. The people that are working right now are being used like machines. And once the machines, like I said, can replace humans, they will do that. You know, truck drivers. Once companies, owners of these businesses, of these companies, can replace truck drivers with machines, robots, or whatever, they will. You know, they don't care if they toss them out and they can't earn money to make a living. They don't care. And of course, they won't be able to have children or a family. So the only ones that will be able to procreate are the people who are willing to sell their souls. So I just want to make a quick point. Like the primitives, they had a certain way of you know, population control, as you like to put it, because I do think overall in the universe there is a ebb and flow or a balance to things. And I find it kind of funny that, like, in earlier times where people were living more in tune with nature, there was less people. The people were also a very high character, integrity, morals, and courage. Whereas now you have a bunch of people that are living in fear, that are scared to do anything, scared to think or say anything, not much integrity, not much morals, and they're in abundance, right? In excess. I mean, the way they lived, as far as the primitives go, you put energy out, you get energy back in. That was that balance that I was talking about. Whereas now, instead of people being connected with their food or their water where it comes from, they have to go and get employed. You know, they have to become employed and work for some stranger and rent out their time and their energy. But now they're needing less people to do the job, to make their profits. So there's a lot of people sitting around there biting their nails. Now they can't go and live as primitives because that's not allowed. You have to go through the system of participating in the labor force, earning a wage, spending that money, and just keep going. And so people are being asked to work more, right? Catch more fish, gather more game, you know. And for what? They don't need it. It's not because they need that. personally. They need more. It's because the person that's employing them needs more profits. So they're like bloodsuckers, right? And people have become vampires, and that's why there's this fascination with vampires, and they're promoting it in the media all the time about vampires. They're sucking your energy, and they're sucking more and more until they're done with you, and they replace you with machines. Until then, they want people to act like machines, and they want people to basically accept the fact that they are pretty much like zombies, right? Walking Dead, or it's not talking about real vampires or real zombies. You're talking about this symbology of it, about this small group of people who are willing to go in there in the middle of a tribe and say, oh, I think I'll take this, I think I'll take 5 of these rabbits, and I'll take a couple of gallons of the water, and he just walks off. He had nothing to do with the actual gathering of water or hunting of game, and he goes and he walks off, and you're like, well, hey, wait a minute here, that doesn't make much sense. We did all the work. And he's like, well, you should be privileged. You should be appreciative that you have a job. You should be appreciating that I'm able to come here, and take half of what you earned, right? So, and of course, then you throw in the government, right? So you could see how much the individual is being exploited and used. I mean, you couldn't get away with that, right? Couldn't get away with that in like a primitive tribe, which is why they resisted so much to being forced to grow crops. Growing crops in agriculture is a form of domination. It's a form of exploiting people. The sad part really is that people are willing to do more and more and more and get less and less and less. And as long as they have their big trucks or their big televisions, basically their cell phones, their cable television and stuff like that, then they're willing to just go and work and work and work until there's nothing left, until they have no more energy. Why? Because it's been siphoned off. Why are so many people taking these energy drinks? Why are so many people into caffeine? It's because their energy is being sucked for them. Why are so many people racing around all the time? You see them in their cars, hauling ass to wherever. They can never get anywhere fast enough. It's because their time has been stolen from them. Their energy has been stolen from them. Why are most families broken? Why is there no relationship between the parents and the children and the offspring and the grandparents? Because they don't have time for it. The only thing that they have time for is themselves, and that's when they turn to entertainment or whatever. So there is no resistance. I mean, you look at what's hot. What are people looking at? Miley Cyrus, Meg Ryan, Yeah, the Affordable Care Act. But, Miley Cyrus, Meg Ryan, celebrities, right? And that's what's most important to them. I mean, all this information is out there. That's the irony of it, is that humanity deserves everything that it gets. There's all these people. There could be so much resistance to this. It's at the touch of a button to find out all this information. I try to put it together for you, but if people really wanted to, they can find the truth and how things really work, how humanity works, but they don't. They choose to be distracted, and they choose to me personally, I think they just choose to be selfish cowards. And that sounds kind of harsh, because I know it's very complex. People, like I said, they want to be able to just earn a dollar, earn money to live. But it comes to the point to where it ruins it for everybody else, to where you fool yourself into believing that you're happy, that this is happiness. I thought it was kind of funny today, going to the store and seeing these big trucks. They're usually white dudes in there, white guys, in these big ass trucks. And I thought, I see them how they're driving, and they'll usually tailgate you, and they'll whip around you and they'll floor it and cutting people off. And I thought, man, this is their only form of resistance, is to take that energy that they got back, put it back into an overpriced piece of shit, big truck, and overpriced gasoline, and go around and just piss people off and be an ass. That's their biggest form of resistance, because they feel powerless. It's the only power that they have. At least that's what they think. So these people aren't being employed. In other words, they're not tools that are being employed, right? They're not being used. They're not, soulless machines that are being used. What a tragedy, right? So a lot of people blame the system itself. They volunteered in, they semi-participated and volunteered to be a part of. Of course, you're kind of born into it, so you're kind of told that this is the way it is. But you can break free if you're mentally strong. If you have the mental will, the spiritual will, the physical will, you can try to break free or break through this crap if you really want to. All the information's out there, like I said. So people want to blame the powers that be. Well, we hand them all that energy. We hand it to them on a golden platter. So, blaming them is only going to get you so far. So humanity itself needs to grow up and basically take responsibility and stop getting duped, basically. We're just talking about, right? Adulthood is being delayed for the millennials. And you see this, an adult at 18, not anymore, from September 25th. Adolescence now ends at 25. So we're talking about grown-up children, right? Adults. The new directive is designed to extend the age range that child psychologists can work with from 18 years old up to 25, saying that now there's 3 stages of adolescence: 12 to 14, 15 to 17, and 18 and over is classified as late adolescence. So the way we used to live, as primitives, as clans, as tribes, you grew up fast, right? You grew up fast, you matured, you were strong, and now the only way that they're really pushing people to grow up fast is the way they dress, the way they act. So in other words, go drinking, go partying, have all this crazy promiscuous sex, and don't have families, put off families for your career, and start working. And basically, they're saying that you don't have to be responsible for yourself. So, you see these people that are, quote, teenagers. I hate that word, but, you're 16 years old and you're shooting people and they don't go to jail because they're a kid, they're a child. I guess a 25-year-old can go around and be a serial killer, but hey, he won't go to jail or be punished or anything because, he's still a kid. You remember this article, Americans' trust in their own political decisions making at a 4-year low. Americans trust themselves less than at any time since the 1970s to make judgments about political issues facing the country. So that's right. People, they don't really want to participate. They don't really care, right? They don't want to think. They feel powerless. It's just a bad situation. So they want somebody else to do the thinking for them, which is done through the news and through the media to basically, like I said, they engineer consent. They tell you what to think, how to feel as a consumer. Teens make better decisions than seniors. So studies suggest older adults are less rational. They said it wasn't about dementia. They said that many of the questions boiled down to logic. Seniors were more likely to make irrational decisions. They were being too cautious in some situations and too risky in others. They said the best age group was basically middle-aged adults. So the way I look at it is your elders used to have knowledge that would be passed down to since the last 3 or so generations, maybe more. Most of the elders, they don't really have wisdom and knowledge to pass down. Basically follow the rules, pay your taxes, and don't rock the boat. But this makes sense. They were last. They said that this was all, a lot of these questions were based off money, right? It said here that it had to do with they were likely to make poor medical and financial decisions. Yeah, see, they tend to pay lower prices for a range of financial products. So this is all consumer-based, the religion of money worship. And you think about older people are closer to death. Younger people, if you believe in reincarnation, they're closer to that spiritual world, the non-physical world. So the people in the middle are the furthest away from death and the spiritual world. So they're the most out of contact, right, from it. So it makes sense that they would want to hold on to that, to the physical world, to the system itself, and be able to navigate through it better, because the older people, they don't give a shit, right? They're getting out of here. And I guess it is kind of true that younger people, they don't have the knowledge yet, but that's where the gap gets bridged, right? Usually the elders would teach the children, right? And grandchildren or whatever. But nowadays, the parents barely raise them, right? So now the state raises them, which tells them to be obedient workers and good consumers, which is why middle-aged people will work and work until they become elderly, where they'll be basically thrown away into a home to die. Thank you.